Welcome back, fellow enemies of the fire. We are here in this segment to talk about all sorts of the fun things that happen in the soccer world. But discerning viewers will notice that Serena was not here last podcast. Why was that, Serena?
Well, I was on the ground reporting for this podcast, live at Soldier Field, not live. I was at Soldier Field watching two games, one of which got completely torrentially rained on. Didn't get rained out, but we got extremely, extremely wet, and the stadium emptied out quite a bit. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun anyway. I saw some good, honestly, some better playing than I thought. I think everybody, for the most part, they were playing, I guess should back up a little bit and say the team. So it was West Ham, Everton. That was the first game at 5:30, and then an hour break, and then it was Man United versus Bournemouth. I've been to, friendly games of Premier League teams in the U.S., and usually they put in a few of the good guys, and then they sub them out at half, and then the rest of it's like C team. I don't think they really did that this time. There was, obviously it wasn't like the full starting lineups, and of course none of these teams are, not to say they don't have good players, but none of them have like a huge star.
Well, Man United has
probably part of it also.
Like 3 players since you've seen them.
Yeah, well, yeah. They didn't have any stars when I saw them, but they won. I think it was 4-1.
Yeah, that game was 4-1. So
United.
Man U beat Bournemouth 4-1, and West Ham beat Everton 2-1, which
yeah.
I started talking about Everton last week on the podcast, and since you were gone, I will let you in. I feel like Everton is like the carry the like. I made the joke that it would be like a seminal moment in history. Like we'd talk about like the Great Flood and 9/11 and Everton being relegated, because once they're relegated, I don't think this team will ever come back. It'll be 100 years before they're back.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I tend to agree. Yeah. Sad for there were Everton Ultras at the game. They had their own section. There were West Ham Ultra. Actually, we were on the Everton Ultra side. And they were coordinated. They had their matching shirts, and they had some sort of, it wasn't like a tifo, but they had some crowd coordinated thing that they did, and they're in Chicago. So, or maybe they flew out from the UK, which I doubt, but they have fans.
So did every team have fans, or was it like?
I would say, yeah. It was definitely much of the population was Man United fan. Like, it was, even just walking around downtown before the games, like it was clear what it was going to be like on the train and everything. So I'd say like 75% Man United, but then the rest, there was a small pocket of Everton fans, decent pocket of West Ham fans, virtually no Bournemouth fans.
Yeah, you went with the only Bournemouth fans in the stadium.
Exactly, which is always kind of fun. I don't know. I kind of liked rooting against Man United. It's always fun to do. So even when we were, at one point it was 4-0, and it looked really did not look like Bournemouth was even going to be able to score one goal, which was all I was hoping for, because it was just kind of embarrassing. And they did score the one goal. So
when it comes to soccer, you can live with 0-0 ties, but boy, when you go to like specific, like when Miami Chicago was like 0-0 this year, or I don't even remember if it was 0-0, but Messi didn't do anything. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like,
yeah. But
like, yeah, if you wait your whole life to see Everton and then they drop a goose egg, like that would suck.
Yeah.
But so what game was more fun? Was the Everton West Ham game more fun because it was closer, or was it just like fun to see some of the Man U guys?
I think that's a good question. I feel like the Everton West Ham was a better game, and also Everton actually was leading for, I think, until just after halftime. So it was 1-0, and then West Ham came back, scored 2, and actually the only player I really know on West Ham is a former Dortmund guy, Niklas Füllkrug, who I love. He's like he's got a great gap tooth, just great look all around. It's like such a good look. And if you look up pictures of him when he was younger, he looks exactly the same because of the gap tooth and like his goofy smile, even though he also like looks really old now. I don't know. He's a great guy. So he was subbed on in the second half, and then he scored the last goal. So I I thought that was fun because it was somebody I know and was kind of rooting for. Um, that probably influenced me thinking that was a better game too. Man United, obviously, yeah, not the matchup wasn't intense and it was kind of a blowout. But I will say most of the goals were pretty good. Like at least two of them, I remember saying, "Wow, that was kind of sick to see." At least even though I don't support it, it
Wait a
was cool to
second.
see those goals. And
Did Tyler Adams play for Bournemouth?
yeah, he came on I think in the second half. At
Oh,
some
you
point in
got
the
to
second half,
see
he didn't
Tyler
play a ton.
Adams. Rad.
Yeah, so by that point it was pouring, so there wasn't like a ton to be seen. Honestly, like it was raining a lot. But we heard his name, we cheered for it, and we did see him come out. So yeah, it
Well,
was cool.
so who was like the biggest players that you like saw? Who was the coolest? Like, I mean, obviously, old boy from Dortmund, but anybody else like worth
Yeah,
noting?
I mean, Bruno was cool to see. Bruno Fernandez or Fernandes, depending on how you pronounce it. Honestly, also the Soldier Field announcer was butchering those like a bunch of names, like kind of horribly. Like I can't think of any of them off the top of my head, but like there were a few where Andrew and I turned to each other and we were like, "Huh? It's definitely not how you say that name." So they need to practice a little bit before that. But yeah, it was cool to see him. Honestly, it was cool to see like Boyland, even though I don't think he's good. It's just cool to see, names that even if they're names that you only know because you have seen people shitting on them all the time.
Right.
It's good to know in person, or like Delict. I think actually the one Bournemouth goal ended up being charged as an own goal on him, on Delict and from Man United. So
Yes. I would not
yeah,
know
great.
any of these players without like playing FIFA. Like honestly, I would know
Yeah.
no European stuff without having been a big FIFA head for as long as I have been.
I've never played.
you know, you know what? You're better for it, but like I don't do the playing online. I love my mental health to stay intact. I don't need that in my life.
Fair,
But
fair.
so you were not gifted's not the right word. You were brought to the game, correct? So because I was gonna ask you if it was worth the money, but you were invited to the game.
No, actually, so it turns out the invite. I mean, I think we went because of this Bournemouth fan Steve, who we know. But actually, Andrew got the tickets through. I guess the Fire had some like pre-sale, and you could get it. I don't know if it was any reduced rate, but I didn't pay. I mean, Andrew paid for them, so I don't know exactly how much they were. But I would say I can't. I don't think they were crazy expensive, and our seats were better than I thought they'd be. I thought we were going to be up in the very very top, and we were kind of mid level, and so I think for that it was worth it to me. Yeah, again, it was just sort of fun, and two games. I like that. I mean, I like as much game time as I could possibly have. Like,
Right.
I love when there's like 10 minutes of extra time because I never want it to end. So the two games for me was fun. Yeah, so I think so.
All right. All right. Well, I spent the entire time that was coming up and being advertised not giving a shit about it, and now I'm jealous that you went.